Hello and welcome. This is Sensei Tony Zaffino of the Sensei Fightwear channel, and with me today I have my special guest, a fighter of Sensei Fightwear, Travell Detroit-made Miller. Best in the Midwest. That's his new nickname, that's what I want to name. So what we're doing today is a get to know you fighter interview with Travell, and just a little information about him today. You'll get to know him a little bit better. So, the first question I'd like to ask you, Mr. Miller, is tell us when and where you'll be fighting.
I will be fighting in the NFC event 123 on January 25th against Eduardo Gonzalez at Center Stage, Midtown.
What do you think of Mr. Gonzalez? Have you seen any of his fights? Do you know anything about him, his style? Anything that might help you, give you some kind of edge or anything in that matter?
I feel like he's a good fighter.
Mm-hmm.
He has a lot to learn, but the things that separate us is our actual experience. I would say he's more of a kicker, and most of my fighting experience, it comes from actually just being through, the flame, like real life combat. I just recently started fighting professionally. In my first event I believe it was NFC 119 against Billy Cahill, and that was my first actual professional bout. But to me, fighting just comes natural. It's not really like how most guys, they're adrenaline's, they're scared, or they gotta do crazy rituals to calm down. I feel like I'm more ready, basically.
So you don't feel like you don't really get that nervous before fights? Are you saying like the jitters? Like a lot of fighters, sometimes they get jitters before the fight. Do you ever feel like you get that, or how do you calm yourself down? You meditate, or are you just ready to bang when you get in there?
The closest thing I get to a jitter is the waiting process for a fight. Having to go take
the
care
anticipation.
Yes, you have to go get your eyes checked. You have to get your blood work checked. You have to maintain your training, all just for this one moment. That I don't get scared at all. It's something I actually look forward to, and that's where the anxiety and the anticipation comes in. It's because I'm going through all of this just to fight for 3 rounds, and it's going to be over like that. And if I miss 1 or 2 days, it could set me back. It's just the little variables that matter.
Sort of like teasing a lion with a steak, is what you're saying, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. All right. How did you get into the sport? Like, I mean, did you start early in your childhood with maybe like karate or taekwondo? Was it something that was brought to you early in your life, or is it something that you had recently started incorporating in your life?
Well, again, it's fighting's always been a big part of my life. I come from a big family. I'm adopted, but by blood, I have 19 brothers and sisters. So you always had to hit back. And I was 9 years old when my mom first put me in taekwondo.
Nice. That's always a good start, especially for like legs. Being able to use your legs.
It gives you a great center of gravity. It was the stepping stone to my fighting, because it got me over that. How like when you're kids, you're scared to hit in the face. You might just get into a shoving match. It gets you into the zone where you're not. You see a fist or a leg.
Kind of breaks the ice.
Yeah,
all right.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that might be it's a little intimidating for kids at first. They don't want to get hit. I mean, nobody actually wants to get hit. Nobody's like, come on, please, I want to get hit. So, I mean, yeah, that is a good way to break into it, I guess, instead of just, all out, going out into brawling when you're young, like maybe. I mean, some kids I've seen, especially nowadays, they've got into MMA at a real early age. Do you think that that's good in a way, or do you think it's good to take like maybe a less of an approach to that, like maybe not as such of a strong approach to fighting? Do you think it's like like taking baby steps to it, or what's your personal take on that?
I feel it is all about the child and the trainer.
All right.
And their upbringing. Some people can learn how to pretty much beat people up and have the power to just be a school bully, but they never use it.
Okay.
And just as a trainer, you need to be able to point these things out, in people to see what they're ready for.
Kind of being able to tell their personality ahead of time, like, okay, these are the things I got to watch for. These are things to to actually incorporate into that? These are things to stay away from with that child or young person. Okay, that's good. So do you like MMA or Muay Thai better? I know you've done both, but what is your favorite thing to do? What is your favorite style of fighting?
I have to say Muay Thai because it's the closest thing you get to like real life. Yeah, of course, people grab you and they wrestle, but nobody's really trying to put you in an arm bar or a Kimura.
Yeah, I've never been in a street fight where someone's trying to put. That'd be crazy, but I mean, it might be some people, but I mean, definitely. I mean, like. You can end the fight quick doing stand-up. I mean, stand-up is pretty much, and especially if you just watch, World Star or something, everyone's trying, even though it's not great fighting all the time, you see that a lot of those fights are stand-up, and if you know what you're doing, I mean, with these, especially people swinging wild for the fences like maniacs, I mean, if you know what you're doing and you're a good fighter, and it's, they'll tire themselves out before you actually even break a sweat, What is your favorite strike?
My favorite strike, I would have to say a double front kick. Just something simple. It's the simple strikes that do the most damage. It's the one you never see coming is the one that's going to knock you out.
So when you're talking about a double front kick, are you talking about coming from the back leg, or coming from the back leg, throwing a roundhouse?
Yes.
And then after you plant it, throw it again right away, like step. Boom.
Well, when I mean double front kick, basically I'm gonna jump up like I'm kicking with the left, switch to the right.
I'm just like telling you to explain it in detail so people understand what a double front kick is. Yeah, so novice, people might just beginning to get into martial arts, so they know what we're talking about.
I will jump. Basically, it's where you jump off of the ground, but you're not really trying to jump up. You're jumping towards your opponent. And you lift up your left leg as if you're going to kick, but you're using the momentum kind of like a skip to skip to your right.
So like walking up a step, but then you switch.
Exactly.
There you go. Exactly. I used to call it walking up the stairs, so like I kind of remember what it meant. But no, that's a good one. I've seen you use that actually a lot. I've seen you use that a lot. What team are you training with in preparation for this bout? What's your team that's backing you and your trainers? Who are they?
I got a big shout out to X3 and Travell Fitness.
Right? Hey. I'll do what you meant.
X3, they have been with me from the beginning. I love them.
Good. And how long have you been training with them for?
I've been training with X3 for about 2 years now.
Oh, okay. So it's a minute. Yeah, you got a good relationship with them. Who or what is your biggest inspiration? Who are the biggest inspirations, people in your life, basically?
Basically, the people that pretty much helped me get to where I am now. I gotta give a shout out to my trainer, Travell Bowman. He saw the talent that I had, and he helped me emphasize on it and gave me the help that I needed. Even bigger shout out to Nathan Williams. In my time, I was looking for a gym. I met a lot of, places that just wanted to take your money, or they wasn't really trying to teach you anything.
They actually have a name for that instead of, continue saying, instead of Taekwondo, take your dough.
Yeah, exactly.
And continue. I'm sorry, I just had to throw that in there.
Nathan Williams, we always stayed in touch on Facebook, and he heard about the hard time I was having finding a home gym. Yeah. And he brought me to X3, and it was history ever since then.
Well, I mean, it's hard on up-and-coming fighters. I mean, financially, you're working a job and you're not really getting paid to fight, especially as an amateur. Correct me if I'm wrong. So you're pulling everything out of pocket, time, money, and everything out of pocket. So you got to really want it, Would you agree with that?
Well, yes, basically, but people always make time for the things that really matter. If this is something that you really want to do, the financial will not be an excuse. Yeah. I come from Detroit. I've never met my dad. Yeah. My mom passed away, in my young adult years. I literally made it to the point where I am now from nothing.
Yeah. So, I mean, from the bottom to the top. Good. What does it mean for you personally just to be a fighter? Just to say, I am a fighter. What does that mean to you? To be able to say to somebody, what do you do? I'm a fighter. What does that mean to you?
It means, I always tell people I'm a martial artist.
Okay.
And, they ask me, what I do. I say, I like to fight. To me, it means I don't want to sound corny like
Don't you-
Spider-Man's uncle or something, but you know how they say with great power comes great responsibility. It's just one of the, I feel not as like a superhero, but it's just like a duty to kind of not only help people like physically, but just also verbally. Like, what am I trying to say?
Basically, what you're trying to do is you're trying to set a good example for the people that are watching you. You don't want to be the type of person who's an anti-hero. There's some fighters, is what you're saying, that unfortunately with their great power they've misused it. There's fighters that are good and they'll beat the crap out of people, or they'll be really heinous with the way they talk to people, and it's like almost an abuse of power.
Yeah,
but you're like in the hero sense, like you're doing the sport a goodness, like you're trying to bring something good and positive to this.
Exactly.
And instead of the stereotype of all these fighters are excuse my language, jerk offs, or that they got big heads, or everybody's got to be a Conor McGregor because that's what they do.
It's very common in the fight world. When you're dealing with people that like to fight, you're dealing with a lot of butt heads. That's just how it is.
Very arrogant.
And I would say that's what makes the difference between a fighter and a martial artist.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, anybody can fight, Talking about Conor McGregor, what did you think? And we just looked over that fight once again before this interview. What did you think of the Conor McGregor Cowboy Cerrone fight?
Well, honestly, I expected a better fight, but it was a good fight, but I just expected it to be a little bit longer.
Yeah, that ended really quick. I mean, I don't understand what had happened. I don't know if McGregor was just seriously really prepared for that, or if Cowboy was underprepared for it. I don't know what happened. Like any fight, it just things happen, and maybe tomorrow Cowboy could win. I mean, but it wasn't his day. It just really wasn't.
Anything could happen in the octagon at any time, and that's what we love about it. It keeps us on.
Though that shoulder move Conor McGregor was using, that shoulder jab, that was different. But I mean, it was very effective. It was effective. It did its job. It opened him up, and that was pretty much the start of the end. Well, we're going to end this interview today, and I'd like to thank you very much for coming on our program. But before we go, would you tell us about all your social media platforms and how people can follow you?
You can follow me on Facebook, just my name, Travell Miller. Instagram is Travell, it's spelled travel with an extra L, _ Detroit made. My Twitter is _ at Heart of Detroit. And you can also follow, and subscribe to my YouTube channel at MPS Out the Mud Training.
Well, this was Travell, Detroit made, best in the Midwest, Miller. This is Sensei Tony Zaffino saying, "Who's your sensei?"